Hey everybody, welcome to the Ron Pertee Show. We're trying to possibly do things a little different where we offer the video option on YouTube, but you also have the audio option on all the other platforms. I thought about doing the video on Spotify, but that just was a little weird. So I want to thank you for watching this episode. Just a heads up, it's amazing because my guest is Bob Nanna from Braid and Hey Mercedes, City on Film. He just during the pandemic has released a solo album under his own name. We have a great conversation about the scene and about everything that's been going on musically, and it's just a really fun conversation. And I hope that you all really enjoy it. And I understand that my hair is a mess, and I understand that I'm pale as a ghost, but that's what you get when you don't leave the house. But you also get to talk to amazing people like Bob Nanna. So I hope you enjoy the episode, and we'll talk to you soon.
This is the Ron Pertee Show.
I know. The only time I ever saw you live was when Hey Mercedes opened for Jimmy Eat World at the Metro, I want to say that was 2001.
I knew that because you told William Goldsmith that, and I listened to that episode.
But I also say that, and as much as I love Jimmy Eat World, I thought you guys were better that night.
How dare you? I mean, thank you. No, you did not say that as far as I remember. No, I don't think you said that. That was 2001 because it was, I believe it might have been September
19th.
13th.
It was right after 9/11.
Yeah, because Hey Mercedes was on tour with Jimmy World for 9/11. We actually played New York, I think on the 5th. Ooh. And then we were in we were in Cleveland on the 10th. And then everyone woke up and was just like, well,
the world's different now. All right.
It might be a little different. So we had a show actually that night in Detroit that got canceled, obviously.
Right.
And then the next day, I believe we actually had off. I might be getting the dates wrong, but I believe the next show we played was on the 13th, which was in Minneapolis at First Avenue. And I remember that being just like everyone being like,
should we be here?
Kind of feeling real weird about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the Metro show was the last show of that tour.
Yeah, that was a fantastic show all around. But you guys were just like, there was something about your performance that was like super electric that night. Like a lot of bouncing on the stage going on.
Despite... Well, everybody was going through a lot at that point in time. So maybe we just took the opportunity to let loose a little bit or try and, I don't know, have fun, bring some levity to the messed up situation. But yeah.
Right. No, it's and I mean, I don't know if you'd say the world is any better now. I mean, we're going through some stuff now too, and feel free to curse if you want. This isn't a Mormon or a Quaker or an Amish type of show. So no offense to any Mormons or Quakers. If you're Amish and you're listening to this, there's something obviously very wrong, but
that's true.
That's a whole other thing that you need to address. Now, when you guys, Braid started back, I want to say 95 or a little bit before 95.
Yeah, it was before 95. The first Braid show was in 93.
But the first album came out in like 95, right?
First album came out in 95.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, December of 93 was our first show. Ooh. You know what? That's my alarm going off saying, get ready for the podcast. We're starting early.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, first show was 93. And then we became a sort of a more serious band at the end of 94 when Chris Broach joined the band. And then we worked on the album, which came out in 95. Yep.
And how do you, like, when you're writing lyrics and stuff, because your lyrics aren't exactly straightforward. like a lot of musicians will, write straightforward lyrics. I mean, with the
Sure.
exception of like Collect from Clark Kent, I'm pretty sure that's kind of cut and dry. But like, how do you approach things like that, like lyrically speaking? I mean, like for instance, you've written stuff post 9/11. Did that impact anything you've written?
I'm sure, maybe not explicitly, maybe not
Mm-hmm.
sitting down to write something and then you know what, I wrote a lot actually in after 2016, after the election in 2016. I found myself really wanting to write a lot about just what I was feeling and what a lot of my friends and family and the world that I was following on Twitter or wherever,
Right.
that, my social circles, what we were all feeling. And that became the Lifted Bells record. A lot of that is on the Lifted Bells record that came out in 2018. And then, I went through a sort of a messy relationship / divorce within the past few years.
Those are always bad.
Yeah, and bad, but I after a while I was able to, and when I say a while, it was at least 6 to 8 months of me being like, well, I'm not gonna write any more songs. But it took me a while, but then to be like, you know what, I'm going to do it because it's gonna make me feel better. So I did a whole record that was pretty straight, like really straightforward.
Right.
Just about my personal journey through the whole thing. It's not like a narrative per se. It's just sort of like, well, how does one person deal with the ups and downs of that sort of, I guess, trauma, or like just an adventure in one's life. And so whatever, I wanted it to end on a high note, so it's not a complete downer of a record. But back to your original question, I feel like I have written some straightforward lyrics before.
Did you said you wrote an entire album about the divorce that you went through? Did that,
Yeah.
you said, trying to make it, see if it would help? Did it help at all, or did it just kind of
It helped.
make things worse?
No, it helped a lot.
Yeah.
I even talk about it on the record about how when I was going through this situation, how all of my friends and people that I loved were telling me, you should write about this. You should write songs about it. And they were, astute. They were smart, thinking like, this is a way that I think that might help you cope with it.
Mm-hmm.
It just took me a while to like catch up to being okay with it, because something that personal hadn't really affected me so strongly in a long time, and it took me a while. But what actually did it was I watched that Bob Dylan documentary that was about his tour that he did, and it was called the Rolling Thunder Review. Martin Scorsese directed it.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and what I took from it was that Bob Dylan's songs are musically pretty simple. It's mostly the chord structures and song structures and melodies are pretty simple, but where he really shows his genius is his lyrics and his storytelling. And so I thought, I'm someone who's used to playing guitar oddly. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't like to play the normal chords. Sometimes I like to mess it up and play weird chords or do some things in like weird time signatures. But I just, watching this documentary made me think like, well, I've got all of these lyrics, because I never stopped writing. I never stopped writing. Mm-hmm. So I've got a ton of lyrics. Let's not worry too much about how the music is interesting to listen to, and really just make it about the lyrics, and so make the music kind of simple. And that's what I did.
Well, there you go. And then it all worked out in the end, right? I mean,
yes,
to a degree.
Yes, and to again answer your question again, I feel like I go on a wild tangent, but I want to bring it back to say
that's
yes,
fine. And you listen to the William Goldsmith interview. You know all about me and tangents. It's okay. You go right ahead.
It made me feel a lot better.
Now I actually have a question from someone I know that is a fan, and he would like to know if you have any thoughts on playing the Unicorn in Milwaukee.
No, I don't, because now I keep track of all of the shows I've ever played.
Right. It was a basement bar.
I don't remember that.
It's
Was that
long gone.
Braid?
It's not the wasn't at the rave. You'd remember the rave because isn't there like a
Of course.
swastika in the basement
Wow.
or something? I don't.
I'm
It's
sure there's something going on there, but yes, I do
yeah.
remember the rave, and I played a few shows there. Braid played there, and Hey Mercedes played there too. But Unicorn Bar. Well, I can actually look it up, which is what I'm doing right now to
Where
see.
isn't it amazing the technology that we can just like, hey, if there was this box that would tell me things.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also I like I like to keep track of stuff, and I like to have it in places where I can reference. Like for instance, I've just got this huge Google Doc of all of the shows that I've played and all the shows Braid played. I don't see us ever playing Unicorn in Milwaukee, which might explain why I don't recognize it. Was it called, I remember playing the Globe.
Oh, don't get me started on the Globe. I miss that place so much. I miss the Globe. So the Globe for Milwaukee is like the Fireside for Chicago.
Yeah.
Except less cockroaches. I remember I don't know if you know the band Nim.
Yeah, of course I remember Nim.
I went and saw their last show at the Fireside, and as they're performing, there is like, I want to say at least a half a foot long cockroach walking on the wall behind them.
Holy cow.
And I'm like, there's a reason why I don't come down here. Also because the beer is crap, but that's a whole other story. Yeah, because I'm from Wisconsin. We drink good beer. We don't drink Budweiser. Budweiser is not a sponsor, by the way.
No, I didn't think so.
No.
We played with them. I think Hey Mercedes played with them at Cactus Club.
Oh, Cactus Club. That's another great venue. I saw Thibodeau there on their most, like, I think it was a couple years ago. And it was so weird to see like Lou Barlow sitting there at the merch table by himself. For somebody who writes songs the way he does, he's just like so like quiet and subdued. And it's like, sure you wrote Brand New Love, bud? Because you're okay, whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of, and I love the scene in the whole like Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago. It was all kind of like a thing, it was like a thing. There's the Fireside, the Metro, the Double Door in Chicago. There's the Globe, the Cactus Club, the BBC in Milwaukee. Madison, I don't know because I don't want to.
Yeah, Madison. When back in the day, we always used to play the school there. They had a outdoor stage and an indoor thing that was called the Rathskeller, but I don't remember what they called it. But it was just like the university there,
right?
And I think there might have been a place called High Note or High Dive there too that I played. But yeah, no,
High
totally.
Noon Saloon, I think.
High Noon, that's it.
Yes.
High Noon. Yep.
Yeah, I saw the Get Up Kids and Gloria record at the school, and that was a very weird show because I immediately got a headache the minute the Get Up Kids got on stage. No offense to them, it just could have been because I was right there in front of the speakers and hurt my head, but whatever. Anyway. So now I asked, you heard the interview, and I asked him to explain the difference between the fire theft and Sunny Day Real Estate. You had to know this was coming because
I did.
You guys are basically in the same boat with Hey Mercedes and Braid. There's only one member that's different. So why not just keep Braid going?
Yeah. We had done so much up until that point. Like, so we're talking now about like 1999 into 2000, when Braid decided to break up. I don't know. We always, especially once Chris joined the band in '94, we just took everything was democratic. Everything was equal. Like everyone had a say in everything, and I wanted to be fair. Everything was split equally. And when we, eventually started to, write, when we wrote all three of the records, the songwriting was sort of, at least in terms of singing wise, it was split as equally as we were comfortable doing between Chris and I. And it just wouldn't be Braid without Chris. Is what we decided.
That's fair.
And yeah. That was basic. That was an easy decision for us to come to, because we weren't like, hemming and hawing over like, oh my God, Braid is, because at the time, and I might have said this before in other interviews, like we didn't think Braid was like on the cusp of anything in particular. We've been busting our asses for a long time touring and stuff, and it was good, but like we just wanted to start something new. We didn't want to and we didn't want to like just, I don't know, keep the name Braid for any reason. I don't know, it just felt like weird to us, so we became Hey Mercedes.
Well, there you go. See, that was a lot less tangential than.
Well, he had, well, you know, William and I've hung out with William a little bit because Braid, I'm sorry, Hey Mercedes toured with Fire Theft. You know, he had a bunch of legal issues, I think, that were involved with that as well, with labels, screwing labels, and
that whole thing is just ridiculous.
Mhm.
And don't ever discount what Braid's done, because I remember going to band practice one night, and a friend of mine was like, "Here, you gotta listen to this," and he puts on Frame and Canvas, and that beginning, the beginning of New Nathan Detroit's was just like, holy shit. You know, just like, oh my god, and we're like, that's the best drumming we've ever heard in our life, and it became a staple.
Damon's from Wisconsin.
Well, see, there you go. There you go. And also, it also makes sense though, because why? It doesn't look like he's ever aged.
Well, yeah, that's true. And he for the longest time, even for at that whole beginning of Braid, actually all of Braid and all of Hey Mercedes, he didn't drink at all either. So like, he just skipped over all of the sort of, I don't know, drinking escapades that we all went through at that point in time, just wrecking our bodies and stuff. And he was just like fresh face, squeaky clean dude. But you know, I see them often. I see Damon recently. He just got married, and he looks the same.
Well, congratulations!
He looks
him.
the same. Yeah.
Now is Braid still going, or because I know you guys came back. Are you still going? But then like pandemic popped up and said, "Hey, wait."
It was the pandemic, but it was also mostly like Chris had some health issues that he was dealing with for a few years, but it's all free and clear now. Braid never really broke up again, like officially.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and look, we still talk. We were all at Damon's wedding. So yeah, I think there's probably a decent chance we'll be selling some houses. We'll put some houses on the market.
We'll have to talk off the air about the shit show that started.
Okay.
On my end and his, but
okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. I mean, there's nothing set in stone. All I'm saying is we're open to getting together when we can. It's really hard now because we're all kind of in different places. Todd is in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Chris and I are in the Chicago area. Damon's in Nashville now. Wow. So, but like I said, we talk all the time. So like if things come up, if schedules align,
I can see practicing.
We'll try and make it happen.
Difficult. Practicing would be pretty difficult.
Luckily, we know the songs pretty well.
That's yeah. I mean, like writing new material, I suppose, would be a little difficult though.
Yeah, that might be tough. But I mean, even when we wrote No Coast, the record No Coast, we were living pretty far from each other, so we figured it out. Like Chris and I did a lot of demoing, and then we had sent things back and forth.
Well, yeah, I mean, like nowadays you can do anything over Zoom or FaceTime or however it is, and you can share screens, and it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's just kind of now I hate to lump you guys in to the emo scene of that mm-hmm. time period, because mm-hmm. I never saw you guys as an emo band. And that's not a knock, because after bands like Sunny Day and Mineral and stuff like that, it was really hard to kind of stack up as an emo band. I think you guys were on a whole different level, on a whole different plane. You brought like this energy, and it was just like it was a fun listen, you know, and and things like that. But you guys did fit in that scene in a weird way. Like you kind of got lumped into that whole thing. What were your thoughts on, like, because you mentioned, playing with the Fire Theft, and that had to be a very weird show because they're super atmospheric and you guys are like jumping all over the place and stuff. And
that tour was Hey Mercedes, Fire Theft, Saves the Day, and Granddaddy.
What?
So it was just like a wild batch of bands together. Yeah.
That's like Cursive touring with Thursday, Jeremy Enoch, and the Appleseed Cast or something.
Yeah, but it's cool because I think I don't know, at least nowadays, I think people are a little more open to that sort of thing, open to being exposed to different types of bands. If you're there to see Thursday, you're not going to be pissed that you got to stand through Jeremy Enoch or Cursive or something like that. I would assume that that's the case. But in terms of like us getting lumped in with those bands, it didn't bother me too much because all of those bands were bands I liked.
Mm-hmm.
But what you sort of brought up that I think is pretty important is that we always wanted to be a fun band to watch,
right,
and see and listen to, not a bummer. Like I just the whole I don't know. I was very adamant about this new record I did not being a bummer. Like I just don't want to bum people out. So you might think maybe some songs are sad or some, but I never want people to leave being sad or upset. And so like, Braid did most of our shows with the Get Up Kids, and like no one was leaving a Get Up Kids show upset. You know what I mean? Like that was it. I didn't mind people calling us emo because of our time signatures or our label or our lyrics or our singing style or something like that. I just didn't want people to assume we were like dour and mopey.
Right. No, I totally get that. That's but a lot like the lineup you mentioned, Fire Theft and Granddaddy and Say, it almost sounds like this is a great transition, by the way. Thank you for setting that up.
You're a professional.
I am. I've been doing this since 2004, so
broadcast. This is your 1001. No, you probably have done a few since William.
I've had 2 episodes that have come out, but yes, I had to think for a second. Well, thank you for listening, by the way. That actually makes me feel all warm inside. Well, I guess you had to know what you're getting into, but so shows like that kind of remind me of basement shows I used to go to.
Yeah.
Like back in like the mid 90s, late 90s, like right out of high school, like I'd go to Milwaukee and see a Carso at some house. And like, did you guys end up playing a lot of basement shows when you first started up?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There was a pretty big basement scene in the Chicago suburbs in particular, which is where I started to get into being a part of the scene, being a part of bands that were playing shows actually, as opposed to just going to shows. There's definitely a big basement scene, people doing shows in their houses, people doing shows at VFW halls and stuff. But yeah, same in Milwaukee, and I definitely played at least one basement in Milwaukee. And then when I went to Champaign for school, Champaign-Urbana, and Braid began, we started setting up a bit of a house show system there as well. Yeah. So yeah, definitely it's something in my blood that I loved doing.
Yeah, it was so weird to be like watching them carry stuff downstairs, and the bass player's got a half stack, and you're just like, oh, I feel so bad for him. No, I don't feel bad at all.
Yeah, there was one show that Braid was on tour with Raina Maria, and it was I think it might have been in Rapid City, where we couldn't fit in the basement, so we didn't play, and people were mad. Well, I mean, there weren't a lot of people there, so whatever, but like we literally couldn't fit our gear in. The basement was so small. The basement was so small that you'd have to stand on the stairs, like going up to even hear us play. It was odd.
Yeah, I remember one time going up there in Milwaukee during a snowstorm. That's how dedicated we were to the scene, and now, did you guys down in Chicago at the time, did you have any stores like Atomic? I know you've been to Atomic.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we have Reckless.
Yeah, because I missed Atomic so much. It was one, and there's what is it about record stores that kind of draw you in and kind of like you feel like you are pulled in like a gravitational pull almost.
Yeah, there's something just visually appealing about seeing like vinyl displayed face forward on racks, and just seeing the artwork so big it's like art, right? I mean, it's artwork, right?
Right.
It's like a museum or something, seeing these and then seeing like the stickers on them. It's, I don't know, well, it just really appeals to that part of my brain. And I'm not the only one that like sees that and is just like, I need to look at this. I want to pick it up and turn it around. And sometimes, you'll go to a record store and you'll see a rack and you'll see, oh, I know that record and I know that record and I like those two records, but I don't know this third one.
Right.
And it's sitting right next to it. So maybe they know something that I don't. Sometimes at those, local record stores, you'll see like chalkboards or whatever, whiteboards that say like, employees say like Bob's favorites, of the week. And it's like these 3 songs or three records, whatever. And it's like, Josie's, it's just like, and everyone kind of has their say and their tastes and recommendations and stuff. And yeah, I love it. I haven't been on tour in a long time, but I always loved going to record stores and still do.
And record stores like that are so, they're not even really, I mean, they're still around, but they're not nearly as prevalent as they used to be, thanks to that place where
the internet.
Well, I was going to say,
or Amazon,
or Amazon's a sponsor.
I suppose. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they also are the internet.
Yes, they are. Yeah, and I was going to mention Joe Rogan, but and the whole Spotify thing. But let's get into something happy because I can't believe I just mentioned him on my show. You're
going to have to put a content warning at the beginning. Because
I really am. It's going to be sorry. We actually speak about things that make sense on this program. Yeah. But let's talk about for a second Celebration States. When you put that out in 2020, right in the midst of a lockdown, were those songs written prior to everything happening, or was it like a very write, record, release type thing?
No. Yeah, those songs that came out in July of 2020. I recorded the songs in September of 2019. Mm-hmm. So the COVID was just a glint in an eye of somebody, like
somebody somebody in China is really sick. Okay, whatever.
Right. So, so it's, I think what happened was the pandemic made the record get pushed back a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I think it might have come out a little earlier in the year because I did have tour dates booked. I was going to play Brazil. I had like a South American tour booked. I had never played shows in South America. Obviously got canceled, but so all of that record was written and recorded before the pandemic, and and then it came out during the pandemic, and it's the whole record is just me and an acoustic guitar. So maybe it was a good record to come out during the pandemic because it sort of gave you that sort of Home Alone vibe, which everyone could maybe identify with at the time. I hope, but
yeah, maybe. I mean, what was the thought process to not putting it out as like a City on Film record?
A few reasons why. I mean, one was I thought that since it's just me and a guitar, it's not like a band. I didn't put together a band or have any other musicians on it. It's just me. Maybe it makes sense to call it just me, my name. And then also, I had been doing a decent amount of touring. Like I went to Europe a few times. Excuse me, and under my name. But what I realized is that when people were going to the website that we won't speak of, the app that we won't speak of, there was nothing under my name.
Right.
I basically didn't have anything under my name. It was all under City on Film. And so it was, I think, a confluence of those two things together that made it make sense to just put it under my name. If I was going to be doing the touring and playing shows by myself, it should just be under my name. And that way, if I was playing your town in wherever, and you didn't associate Bob Nanna with City on Film or Braid or Hey Mercedes, you could be like, well, I'll go check it out, and you could find actual stuff. Yeah.
Well, see, that's fantastic to just kind of get out there and just be you for an hour on
for
stage.
One goddamn second.
I just want to be me, damn it. That's it. I just want to be Blob Nanna. That's it.
That's it, Blob. That's right.
That's see. There's the next record. That's just call it Blob.
Exactly.
Yeah. Have you thought about getting out at all, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic and doing like some small shows?
Going outside there?
Yeah, I know that weird.
Right? No way.
That weird spot. I mean, well, okay. Pandemic
Open this
aside,
door?
it's like 20 degrees out. I understand that, but
I know, and it's supposed to snow pretty bad. I don't know if it's started yet.
well,
But,
now you must be getting it because I guess it's passing by us. Let me look here. I'm pulling out my weather app.
no, we've got a weather advisory.
Like I work for a company out of Michigan and they have a weather advisory, but I don't. And I'm the only person. Yeah, I'm the only person in Wisconsin in the company, and they have a weather advisory. I'm just like, guess I'm the only dependable one, huh?
I thought you were going to say you're the only person in Wisconsin that doesn't have a weather advisory.
Just me.
You've got like a bubble around your house.
I do.
Just,
I'm like Jake Gyllenhaal or John Travolta, depending on who you like more. But yeah, it's like, I'm staying alive inside my bubble.
Yeah. So the pandemic, yes. I thankfully been able to dodge COVID since the beginning, and I know a lot of
me too.
Friends, a lot of friends and family have gotten it. I've been trying to be as careful as possible. I played one show during the pandemic in somebody's backyard. It was a small thing, and
right,
everyone was spaced out. You know what I mean? On drugs? No, they were actually spaced out. And then
they started talking about killer chickens.
Right, exactly. And then I played two shows kind of recently, one in October and one in September. One in September, one in October. That felt safe. They were all everything was up and up. Everyone was masked and like safely distanced. So those felt good. But what I'm really worried about is touring. I have a tour scheduled this year in June for Europe again. And shows are getting announced. And so far, everything.
Now you can talk about those shows, right? I don't want to get in any trouble. I don't want to get in any more trouble.
I can talk about it.
I don't want Spin Magazine to say anything that they shouldn't say.
Spin.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you can talk about them. All of the shows haven't been announced yet, but I mean, enough of them have been.
Well, where do you know where the first date is that you can announce, or can you not announce the first date? Like, where are you storming the beaches at Normandy?
Close. No, kind of close. It's either Glasgow or Edinburgh. It's going to be my first show of the tour. We're playing. I say we. It's I'm touring with another singer-songwriter named Andrew Paley, friend of mine who I've done touring with before. So we're playing Edinburgh. We're playing a festival in Bristol called the Booze Cruise Festival.
Oh, there you
go. If this fucking thing better be on a boat. If it's not on a boat, I've never played a show on a boat, and God damn it, I want to play on a boat. So anyway,
my buddy's actually in a yacht rock cover band.
And they play on a boat.
They did just play with Tony Orlando. So that was kind of cool. And it was like only 45 minutes from my house, and I didn't go like a fool. But I guess Dawn wasn't going to be there. So I just didn't care. I just didn't care because Dawn wasn't going to be there. And the average age looked like it was 55. But I would have been a little young.
Totally.
Yeah. But
yeah, the shows in the UK, bunch of shows in Germany. I'm playing in Oslo, that got announced, and then cool. I just found out a few days ago that this is kind of funny. We're playing the UK, and then I think maybe one show in France, and then most Germany, and then Scandinavia. Well, the booking agent decided to, in between Copenhagen and Oslo.
Oh boy,
we're playing Spain. He's like don't worry. Don't worry. The drives are really long in Sweden between Copenhagen and whatever. You're better off. It's so cheap to fly to Spain and do some shows in Spain and then fly to Oslo. So
that is so weird. I mean, I'm thinking geography, and that doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Whatever. That's a whole thing. That's a whole thing that between you and your booking agent. That's not, yeah. But what do you
He knows best.
hey, he probably knows Europe better than either one of us.
That is true.
You know. What do you have to say about the legacy that Braid and Hey Mercedes have left? Because they still really stand the test of time. Like I played them for some people when I mentioned that I was going to be having you on. They're like, wow, I really dig this, because I'm sure there's a lot of, there's for every, one or two people who know and love Braid and Hey Mercedes, who I might add, when they become a fan of the band, they're a fan of the band. They're not like, there's no wishy-washy, like, yeah, they're okay. I'm noticing that too. It's a lot like Silkworm fans.
Yeah. Did you see me talking with Jonah Byer about Silkworm on Twitter?
No.
Anyway, table that.
Yeah, we'll table that till after we're done, because there's so much we have to talk about afterwards.
Yeah, well, sure. But the legacy of Braid and Hey Mercedes, I don't think about it that much, to be honest. I love that people identify with it and like the music, and have a reaction to it that's positive, and like you said, maybe become fans, and not, like I said, one of the things is that I don't want to be a bummer, but I also don't want to be like, I want people to pay attention. You know what I mean? Like, right. I don't want to be, I don't want people to be indifferent. So that I suppose that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm pleased by it. I'm happy that people can still hear it and be excited about it, and hopefully get inspired a little bit by it. But that said, I don't think about it that much, nor do I like let it go to my head too much. And because of that, I'm always feeling like I need to make more music and better music. And so I don't know, that's just the way my brain works, and and how it has worked forever, where I never want to be sort of super satisfied with like what I've done and been like, well, cool, I'm out.
Right.
Like I still think there's a lot of really good music to be made by me and by people, people that I collaborate with. There's no end in sight. And so, that's sort of my thought on the legacy thing.
There you go.
I also don't want to be like a legacy quote unquote legacy band.
Right. No, I hear you. Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? That's a little weird. Like, and I understand, people, whatever, 93. We're old, and the fans of ours are older and whatever that and have probably some nostalgic feelings about us, and that's totally cool. But like, I don't know, I want, like a band like Superchunk is a great example of just stay relevant. They could become a legacy band or whatever, but like the new, like Naked Raygun is a band that I love, and they just put out a new record, and it's like so it's great. It's like, it basically could be like, just it fits so well right in their catalog. They're not just like phoning it in. I never want to phone it in.
Right. And you mentioned Superchunk. They got a new album coming out next month, or this month, I think. So, it's February now, I guess. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't check calendars unless I absolutely have to. It's
Sometimes
just like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Oh, I got to work today. Oh, okay, that's great. I'm
surprised you showed up for this interview, to be honest.
Well, I mean,
you didn't even check your schedule.
No, I didn't. I was just like, hey, I'm here early. You want to just do this? Because wrestling's on. I don't know. But do you ever miss the days of playing basement shows? Like, there was something so simple, and I don't mean like in a nostalgic way. I mean like how everything, there was no pressure. You know what I mean? And it just, you got to play music to play music. Yeah. And if it got you a couple of free beer and $10, you were fine with it. Now, do you kind of put pressure on yourself when you write something and you release it, like, oh, I wonder what they're going to think about it?
The latter part of your question, I think, is, I don't know, something that's hard to get away from, hard to escape, because I've played so many live shows and cut my teeth, playing live shows, doing tours. So it's hard not to write a song, whether it's solo or with a band, and not think about how it's going to play live, how it's going to sound. Is it going to be, something that is going to fit, in a set?
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be like a part of the set where people are going to zone out? So yeah, I at least definitely think about that a lot, because I tend to write music that I want to play live.
Right.
The first part is, yeah, I do miss basement shows. Particularly, I never really felt a lot of pressure playing like a big venue versus a basement show. I'm equal opportunity pressure. Like there's always a bit of nervousness, even no matter where it is, even a basement show to 20 people.
Right.
So but what I do miss is just the real like up close community of it all. Like when we used to do house shows in Champaign at this place called 808 California, it was just, or I can name a few houses in the US where we would play, and it would just be packed with kids, and they were all just around. There was no like stage, there was no barriers. Everyone was just being respectful, but like, losing their minds, like having this the blast.
Right.
And we were all having a blast too. And you look back at photos from those shows and it's just like, wow, that was so much fun. Just being in that group, just going nuts with everyone else, even though I had a guitar and singing, it doesn't matter. I was just having fun with everybody. That's the sort of thing I miss when it comes to basement shows.
Right on. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And I know you are a busy fella, and we got this done early. So everybody check out bobnanna.com. That's where all roads lead from there, right? And you can listen on probably all of the listening platforms, right?
That's true.
Even the Rogan one.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, one of the things I mentioned on Twitter is it's not as easy for like a musician like me that has put out stuff on so many different labels. Like, sure, all the records are on there. I have no clue how they got on there. Vagrant put them on. I don't know. Polyvinyl probably put them on. I don't know. The new record was the label I'm on, New Granada. Like maybe I could ask them to take it down, but like all the stuff that actually, I don't know, matters. I don't know. It's just not as easy.
Right.
I need somebody to manage this for me.
Yeah, and I mean, there's probably a lot of people listening to this on there right now.
That's true.
And I don't think until it becomes a big deal, I'm gonna start worrying about taking it down.
Yeah, what I said was, one thing I could do, like I'm pretty active on social media, and like to link up songs and stuff and talk about songs and bands and stuff like that. And I was just like, well, I just won't link to Spotify anymore, so the bands can at least get a stream somewhere else.
Right.
And then I also listen to a lot of new music, and as shitty as Spotify is, it's very helpful for finding new music, or like organizing what new records you want to listen to.
Right.
So I'm just now getting used to Apple Music, and I know Apple Music isn't great either, but at the very least I can stop giving Spotify my money, because they're not paying me anything. I don't get paid shit for like streams.
Yeah, hey, like Neil Young is going to be very, very upset when he stops getting that $1.37 a year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But
anyway, I took us on a tangent. We were wrapping up.
No, you were fine. No, that's fine. That's fine.
You're a busy guy too. There's wrestling to watch.
No, it's not very good. But so everybody check out bobnanna.com, and it's Hey Bob Nanna, or on Twitter, right? Yeah, Hey Bob
on Twitter, on Instagram.
Yep. And be sure to follow him. And if you're in Europe, now folks. You heard it here. You heard it here first. Probably not. About the shows coming up. It's I just hope things get much better in the grand scheme of things for you, and they continue to get much better.
Well, thanks so much. I hope everything gets better for you as well.
I hope so too.
And
So
for everybody listening, I
yes,
don't want to
well, with the
them
exception
either.
of a few people, I hope everybody has an amazing time. I guess I don't know, but all right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.